What if power doesn't arrive after you succeed, but the moment you decide to see clearly? Here's the paradox. When you stop arguing with reality, reality stops arguing back. In plain English, we'll use Buddhist teachings like a clean lens, not a heavy doctrine. This is Buddhist wisdom you can feel. Steady breath, softer shoulders, braver choices. Think of it as daily Buddhist practice you can slip between coffee and commute. You don't need blind faith, you need better seeing. Through Buddhist mindfulness, Zen meditation, and Vipassana meditation, we'll train attention to spot the first spark before it becomes a wildfire. In our Dharma talks, we'll turn the Four Noble Truths into a living dashboard and the Noble Eightfold Path into a practical map. Right view, right speech, right effort, right now. No fluff, just tools that hold under pressure. Here's the twist that calms the nervous system. Positivity isn't pretending, it's precision. We'll use Buddhist philosophy to notice craving, loosen clinging, and choose the next wise move. With Buddhist stories and parables, we'll anchor Buddhist life lessons in moments you actually live. Hard conversations, lonely nights, the quiet courage to start again. For Buddhism, for beginners and long-time travelers, the door is the same. This breath, this step. If part of you is tired of self-help that scolds while you're already trying, welcome. We'll practice warmth without wishful thinking, strength without stiffness, hope without denial. This is Buddhist spirituality with its sleeves rolled up, clean, kind, and repeatable. Ready to test, not just believe? Good. Let's flip the lights on together and see what your mind can really build. You're not chasing a mood, you're training a mind. In Buddhist teachings, happiness isn't a lottery win. It's a skill we practice. We'll lean on Buddhist wisdom the way hikers lean on a map, steady and clear. Think of this as daily Buddhist practice that you can feel in real time. Together, we'll turn life into Dharma talks you can actually walk. You'll learn to sit like a mountain and move like water. No theatrics, just presence. Zen meditation and Vipassana meditation won't ask you to believe, only to notice. Through Buddhist mindfulness, we'll watch thoughts pass without getting dragged under. Buddhist stories and parables will light the path when language gets in the way, and Buddhist life lessons will show up right where you live. Breath, body, choice. We'll keep it friendly for Buddhism for beginners while deep enough for old souls. The Four Noble Truths won't be museum pieces, they'll be tools in your pocket. The Noble Eightfold Path becomes your practical compass. Right view to right action. Buddhist philosophy turns from abstract to tactile, like warm tea in cold hands. Buddhist monks' teachings whisper the simple secret. Train attention, free the heart. This journey is less about fixing yourself and more about seeing clearly. Gratitude slows the rush. Compassion opens rooms you didn't know you had. We'll stack small wins until peace becomes your default setting, not a weekend trip. Call it Buddhist spirituality without the fog, grounded, honest, usable. And if you're wondering how positivity fits into all this, that's exactly where we go next. Mindfulness, sati. Mindfulness isn't a trick, it's clear seeing on purpose. Through Buddhist teachings, you learn to spot the first spark before it becomes a wildfire. Buddhist wisdom says the present moment is where your real life happens. With Buddhist mindfulness, you notice breath, body, and mood without flinching. This is daily Buddhist practice you can carry into traffic, emails, and tears. Let's make it simple and real. In Zen meditation, you rest attention like a bird perching, light, steady, ready to lift. In Vipassana meditation, you observe sensations rise and fade, learning non-attachment. We'll fold these into Dharma talks you live, not just hear, one breath at a time. For Buddhism, for beginners and old hands alike, the method is notice, name, release. When anxiety knocks, mindfulness answers with curiosity, not combat. The Four Noble Truths become experiential, not theoretical. Here is craving. Then the Noble Eightfold Path shows up as practical choices, speech, effort, attention. Buddhist philosophy stops floating and lands in your chest like steady warmth. These Buddhist life lessons retrain the mind to pause before it spirals. I like using Buddhist stories and parables to make this tactile and human. You'll hear Buddhist monks' teachings distilled into steps you can try tonight. We'll keep it plain English, friendly, and street level. Nothing mystical required. As mindfulness softens reactivity, space opens for kindness to move in, which naturally points us toward the heart muscle we train next. Loving kindness and compassion. Loving kindness and compassion. Metta and Karuna. Metta is strength in soft clothing. In Buddhist teachings, loving kindness isn't syrup, it's disciplined warmth. With Buddhist wisdom, you train the mind to wish well, even to people who pinch your nerves. Buddhist mindfulness helps you notice the tiny flinch before it turns into a wall. As daily Buddhist practice, metta becomes a habit like brushing your inner teeth. Here's the street version. In Zen meditation, you drop a phrase like a pebble in a pond. May I be well. In Vipassana meditation, you watch the ripples touch breath, chest, jaw, and back again. Dharma talks make it practical. Start with you. Widen to a friend, a stranger, a rival. For Buddhism, for beginners, we keep it simple. For veterans, we deepen the radius. Compassion, Karuna, is the courage to face suffering without flinching. The Four Noble Truths point out pain. The Noble Eightfold Path shows how to care wisely. Buddhist philosophy says you don't have to drown to understand the ocean. Buddhist monks' teachings coach you to pair tenderness with boundary and clarity. These Buddhist life lessons make empathy steady instead of leaky. Neuroscience nods, sure, but Buddhist spirituality gives the lived proof. Buddhist stories and parables show grudges melting when metta gets a real workout. In daily Buddhist practice, resentment is replaced by goodwill that doesn't feel fake. Buddhist mindfulness becomes your quality control, keeping kindness honest and grounded. And once warmth is stable, we're ready for the next move, transforming negativity at the root. Transforming negativity. Negative emotions aren't villains, they're untrained messengers. In Buddhist teachings, anger, jealousy, and fear point to unmet needs and clinging. Buddhist wisdom invites you to meet them at the door, not chase them down the street. With Buddhist mindfulness, you label gently, anger is here, and breathe once. This becomes daily Buddhist practice. Steady, simple, repeatable, even in chaos. Let's work the method, clean and clear. Through Zen meditation, you feel heat in the chest without turning it into a story. In Vipassana meditation, you watch sensations rise, crest, and pass, impermanent waves. Dharma talks, translated. Less rumination, more regulation, kinder choices now. For Buddhism, for beginners and veterans, the rule holds. Notice, soften, respond. We pair antidotes with precision. Gratitude loosens envy. Compassion cools rage. Curiosity punctures fear's costume. The Four Noble Truths show where suffering spikes. The Noble Eightfold Path shows skillful exits. Buddhist philosophy keeps you grounded. Causes and conditions, not cosmic punishment. Buddhist monks' teachings offer drills. Pause the tongue, relax the brow, widen the view. Real-life proof beats theory, every time. Buddhist stories and parables remind us how small shifts change whole outcomes. These Buddhist life lessons turn reactivity into wise action you can feel. Buddhist spirituality isn't airy. It's the courage to stay present when it burns. And once the fire cools, there's a surprising joy we can train next. Rejoicing in others' happiness. Rejoicing in others' happiness. Mudita. Mudita flips the script. Instead of shrinking when someone wins, you expand. In Buddhist teachings, this sympathetic joy trains the heart to celebrate, not compare. Buddhist wisdom reminds you that another's light doesn't dim your flame. With Buddhist mindfulness, you notice the first sting of envy and breathe space around it. As daily Buddhist practice, you make joy a renewable resource, not a scarce prize. Here's how we do it in plain English. During Zen meditation, you picture a friend's success and let warmth spread through the chest. In Vipassana meditation, you track the sensation, tingle, soften, glow, without clinging. Dharma talks turn it practical. Text a congrats, say a blessing, smile on purpose. For Buddhism for beginners, keep it small. For veterans, widen the circle every week. Mudita is precise medicine. The Four Noble Truths reveal how craving fuels comparison. We meet it with joy. The Noble Eightfold Path guides speech and intention, so praise stays honest. Buddhist philosophy reframes success as interdependence, not a zero-sum brawl. Buddhist monks' teachings and Buddhist life lessons show that shared happiness multiplies, fast. We'll anchor it with Buddhist stories and parables you can feel in your bones. When you bless another's rise, your nervous system learns safety and abundance. That's Buddhist spirituality at street level. Generous, grounded, repeatable. Keep practicing until appreciation becomes your reflex instead of your project. And notice how this widening heart sets us up to face the next truth gently. Impermanence. Embracing impermanence. Anicca. Impermanence isn't bad news. It's the permission slip to breathe now. In Buddhist teachings, everything that arises passes. Feelings, storms, victories, heartbreaks. Buddhist wisdom invites you to stop white-knuckling what can't stay. With Buddhist mindfulness, you watch change in real time. Inhale, exhale, micro goodbyes. In daily Buddhist practice, this truth softens control and makes room for ease. Here's the felt sense. During Zen meditation, you notice a thought bloom and fade like mist at sunrise. In Vipassana meditation, sensations flicker, pressure, warmth, release, Anicca written in the body. Dharma talks translated, less clinging, kinder choices, cleaner exits. For Buddhism for beginners, we keep it simple. For veterans, we train elegance in letting go. Impermanence also heals old tangles. The Four Noble Truths show how grasping hurts. The Noble Eightfold Path trains wiser grip. Buddhist philosophy says love deeper, not tighter. Hold like open hands, not fists. Buddhist monks' teachings remind us. Endings fertilize beginnings like winter feeding spring. These Buddhist life lessons turn goodbyes into gratitude instead of dread. Real life, not theory. Relationships evolve, careers pivot, identities molt. Buddhist stories and parables point to rivers. You never step into the same water twice. Buddhist spirituality steadies you when the ground moves, so you can move with it. With Buddhist mindfulness, forgiveness gets easier because the past won't sit still. And if change is constant, then training positivity moment by moment becomes our next practical move. Integrating positivity into daily life. Start small, start now. In Buddhist teachings, intention at dawn quietly shapes your day's weather. We'll anchor a morning check-in, 2 minutes of Buddhist mindfulness before the phone. Let Buddhist wisdom cue a breath, a phrase, a choice. Right here, right now. Call it daily Buddhist practice that actually fits between coffee and commute. Make kindness the operating system, not an occasional app. Through Zen meditation, you steady attention. Through Vipassana meditation, you see clearly. Dharma talks become practical. One kind word, one honest pause, one clean boundary. Guided by the Noble Eightfold Path, you align speech, effort, and focus without strain. Even for Buddhism for beginners, that's a simple loop. Notice, soften, act. Let gratitude and generosity do the heavy lifting. The Four Noble Truths name where suffering spikes, we answer with wise giving. Buddhist philosophy reframes success as service, not self-obsession. Buddhist monks' teachings suggest micro-rituals. Thank a helper, hold a door, forgive faster. These Buddhist life lessons turn ordinary moments into training reps for calm courage. Keep the heart wide and the practice light. Buddhist spirituality isn't another identity. It's how you walk and talk today. Buddhist stories and parables remind us, rain or shine, seeds still take root. Thread positivity into chores, emails, workouts. Make presence your default style. And with that foundation laid, we're ready to weave the opening scene that pulls viewers in next. If something softened in you today, hold that thread. Which insight from these Buddhist teachings hit home? The way Buddhist mindfulness cools the mind, or how loving kindness turns armor into warmth? Tell me where it landed in real life, during a hard talk, a lonely commute, or that 3 a.m. spiral. Your story might be the Buddhist wisdom someone else needs tonight. What surprised you most? The precision of the Noble Eightfold Path or the honesty of the Four Noble Truths? Did Zen meditation or Vipassana meditation feel more natural? Drop a comment with one daily Buddhist practice you'll try this week. Be specific. A breath before you speak. a metta line before you judge, or a simple act of generosity before you scroll? Where did resistance show up? Envy when someone else won? Fear when change knocked? Share it. Let's turn those edges into Dharma talks we can all learn from. If a Buddhist story or parable from your life wants to be told, this is your space. No perfection, just presence. If this resonated, subscribe and turn on notifications to keep training with us. Short, practical sessions rooted in Buddhist monks' teachings and grounded Buddhist spirituality. New tools, clear language, steady results. Your mind is the engine. We're just tuning it together.